Mindfulness can bring peace and deep inner knowledge. Richard can help you deepen your practice. Watch this video to learn more. Now, today, I want to talk about letting go. This is one of the essential attitudes of mindfulness. These essential attitudes, as defined by John Kabat-Zinn, form a foundation for mindfulness. They are non-judging, patience, beginner's mind, trust, non-striving, acceptance, letting go, gratitude, and generosity. Today, we're talking about letting go and learning how to let go and sit with the present moment is at the core of mindful living. Every time we take a breath in, we have to let it go. Otherwise, there's not room for the next breath. Receive and release over and over. This is the natural rhythm of life. Now, what is the mindful attitude of letting go? The mindfulness teacher, John Kabat-Zinn, considers letting go to be synonymous with letting be. This refers to an open, relaxed, non-judgmental acceptance of what is and requires no action, rather a mindful being with things as they are. Thich Nhat Hanh says that perceptions are the ground of all afflictions. His idea of letting go is more active. Quote from him, throwing away notions and ideas that are at the base of our suffering. One approach is open and receptive. The other is an active process. I'll talk about both approaches. Letting go is an integral part of mindfulness, which I repeat every session before our first meditation. Paying attention non-judgmentally, fully receive whatever is experienced, then let it go. So letting go is also an essential part of mindfulness breathing as we breathe out. Now, what is involved with letting go? Letting go may involve external physical objects, letting go of things. Letting go is also internal, letting go of internal mental objects, feelings, desires, ideas, hopes, and fears. The internal letting go is, I think, the most important and maybe the hardest. For physical objects, just knowing that everything is temporary, everything changes, this may be enough. So when it's fully here, experience it, cherish it, revel in it. When it passes, let it go and be grateful for what you had. This letting go, if you can't do it, you'll suffer at the loss of some loved object, like an old photo or book or the scratch on your new car. Especially, you'll suffer from the loss of a loved person or pet. All things pass away. They were created and will someday pass away. Letting go when things pass away is an essential part of life. On the internal side, Jon Kabat-Zinn talks about letting go and letting be. Basically, this is letting go of your desire for something to be different from what it is now and letting it be what and how it is now. This is wanting what there is instead of something else. Now, what is at the base of this letting go? In our meditation, we experience it like this. We are meditating, the mind starts to quiet. Then there is a thought. Observing this, we see that thoughts just come up, even when you don't want them to. So in mindfulness, seeing that we can't control thoughts, we learn to just notice that a thought has risen, then return to watching the breath over and over. And over time, with practice, the mind gets quieter. But wouldn't it be great if the thoughts just wouldn't come up? So this leads to active processes like those talked about by Thich Nhat Hanh. My teacher, Nomi, would say that thoughts don't just come up. Rather, they are the results of our tendencies, our mental habits. These are based on what we think will make us happy. We remember what has made us happy or unhappy and either want more of the good stuff or less of what makes us unhappy. Tendencies turn into habits. So when, for example, when you see a piece of chocolate, you either want it or you don't, depending on which way your tendency is wired. At the base for the tendency is some idea about happiness and where you will find it. It's based on the idea that this thing or action or interaction will bring you happiness. When you actively let go, you let go of your tendencies. This means that your response to life is based on the experience of this moment, not on the automatic reaction that rises from your tendencies. Nomi taught to investigate our ideas of happiness and where it comes from. As long as you think happiness comes from outside of yourself, the desire for it will continue to come up, and with it, as a thought that rises seemingly out of nowhere. But where does happiness come from? If you look closely, you'll see that happiness is internal. It may be stimulated by an event or object, but the experience is within. Also, if you look closely, you will also see that there is happiness even without external things, happiness that just wells up from within, seemingly without any reason or cause. You might also notice that happiness that seems to come from external things and events is temporary. It just comes and goes, while the happiness from within is different. It is just there when you make the effort to notice it and get your thoughts out of the way. Your desires, your tendencies are directly linked to your ideas about what brings you happiness. To quiet your mind, silence your desires. To silence your desires, know, really know that the source of happiness is within, not in the world. Learn to find the happiness that is within. So you'll stop looking for happiness outside in the world from all these objects. Another thing involved is the completion of your experiences. Werner Erhard said in his S training, quote, there are two kinds of experiences, ones that you have finished and the other ones. Many times dealing with painful experiences, we hold back and push them down. We don't finish them by experiencing all the pain, upset, and anger. We just lock them up inside and use some of our life energy to keep them locked up. If you find ways to complete these incomplete experiences by experiencing them out, then and only then can you let go of them. When you know about this, you can strive to complete these kind of experiences at the time rather than holding back and holding them in. Now, James Barras, a teacher and writer about meditation, says there are three things you can do to being more letting go in your life. The first is let go of story. The next is let go of stuff. The third is to let go of busyness. We all have our story. We are the star of our story. What story can you let go of? What story do you want to cultivate that creates more peace and balance? It's your story after all. We acquire so many things because we believe that this thing, this experience will make us happy. What if we could come from a place of enough? How much stuff would you actually need? What do you really need to feel full and satisfied? Sometimes the best way to have more time, connection, and freedom is to commit to less. How can you simplify your life so you have time for what really matters? What is the first activity you can let go of today? In letting go and letting be, we are either in mindful action or mindful rest. Both call for our participation and our commitment to quality of thoughts and actions to ourselves, others, and the world around us. So let go, let it be, and be happy with what you have. You want deeper meditation, more peace, more happiness. Subscribe now to continue to find ways to get more from your meditation.